What up, Molly? What's happening, man?
What's good? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. For those of you who are tuning in, we thank you for your time. Just taking a part of your day to come check this podcast out with my compadre Maali P from the Berg,
What
and
up? What up?
myself. You know what I'm saying? So appreciate that. Hope all y'all doing good, and many blessings unto you, into you.
Word.
Yeah, man. Anybody want to say what's up to Molly? Anything like that?
Absolutely. Shout out to my wife, my beautiful wife. It'll be 13 years of marriage, September 3rd, day after my birthday. So shout out to her and the kids. Also shout out to Eternal City Church, which is where I fellowship at. My pastor, Chris Moran. What up?
Yeah. Shouts out to them, the boss, your wife.
Indeed, you know what it is.
Nah, I was just playing. Yeah. But it really is important to have your significant other, wife, girlfriend, kind of individual on your corner or in your corner. Sorry, when it comes to this kind of stuff. But anyway, man. So the purpose of this podcast is just to kind of do a one-on-one interview with Maali P, and to kind of let y'all know, what's behind the project, what went into it, and like other things that are, significant. So, man, Maali, if you could just do me a favor, man, just introduce yourself. Who's Maali P and what does he do?
So I'm been rapping since I was about 16. So I've been rapping for a while. Just married, 6 children, and just been grinding. Just doing my thing, and I used to rap with my wife. We were in a group called Monochord, and we rapped for about 8 years. And after that, my wife for about 5 years, but the Lord has given me something, and I'm ready to share it with everybody.
That's dope. Just that last part, man. Could you repeat that again? After Monochord, I didn't catch what you said. It kind of froze up on us.
Oh, word. So after Monochord, I was kind of dormant for about 5 years. Wasn't sure what to do, because for me, music was kind of like an idol. So once we stopped doing music, it was kind of a weird season for me. But the Lord has been gracious and has given me some stuff, and I'm ready to share with everybody. You know what I mean?
That's dope. All right, man. So for those who may not be familiar with who I am, my name is Omar Lewis from London, Ontario, Canada. Many of you may know me via marvformorebeats.com. I'm the editor on that site. Working with Marv. Big shout out to Marvin Glassby. That's my dude. Working with him has introduced me to a slew of creative, hardworking individuals, be it producers, DJs, MCs, just a whole bunch of great people, man. I'm always thankful for that opportunity. So, yeah, that's where I come from. I'm also an aspiring producer. I try to, create, and yeah, that's kind of my little intro. So we just gonna get into it, and let me ask the first question, Maali. What was the goal of this project, man?
Wow. The goal of this project was pretty much share that I've noticed that there's been an identity crisis in music, particularly in what we would call CHH. It seems as if the direction has shifted, and don't get me wrong, there's been some good music and good product that's come from it, but at the same time, there's been a lack of urgency in regards to the Great Commission. just in the content of the music. And it's kind of a personal testimony for me as well, because as I stated earlier in my intro, that music was an idol to me. I found my worth in it, and not in what God, not in who God says I am. Walked around that way for a long time, and once that was exposed to me through countless conversations, just in hindsight, this is what the Lord gave me to share.
Got you. So I'll answer this next question like my way, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, just my end of the story, and then I'll throw it back to you. So the second question that I have is like, how did you and I link up? So from my perspective, if I'm not mistaken, a while back I put out a beat tape, and then on like social media I was just kind of trying to get the attention of whomever was willing to listen to what I had before I sent it to mastering, if I'm not mistaken. And Maali happened to be one of those individuals, and he's like, yo, let me hear what you got. And then I got some positive feedback, and I think that was like our initial kind of conversation or whatever. It was just really small talk, and then an opportunity came that the Lord gave me to produce. He gave me that shot to produce with the big homie Jared Sanders, and he was promoting his album at the time, Nobody Famous, and kind of showing some clips in the studio. And for the track I did, he would say, yo, Omar Lewis bodied this, and I was just like, yo, thank you. And like, I was reposting it, sharing it everywhere, not for my own sake, but just because I'm proud of like what has come out of it on Jared's end. Because to me, it's like the artist is always number one on a record. And then by that time, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Maali hit me up like on a message or something. He's like, bro, I need beats, man. You gotta stop hiding, whatever you got from me. And I was like, okay. So that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's pretty much how we kind of linked up. And then from there on, like, just slowly and gradually, we started connecting, having deeper conversations, just building. And the good thing is, it wasn't a thing for me where it's like, okay, I'm building with an artist, because there's plenty of artists, but who are those individuals who are going to challenge you, call you a brother, talk to you, and like not only just ask about music, but how your day's going and all that. And I really look for individuals that are like that. And I try to do the same on my end, so it's not just so one-sided. But yeah, that, if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of how I linked up with Maali. So Maali, if you got any other story or whatever, feel free to share.
I think you really captured it. I think the only thing I would say, or I would add to that, would be that I was trying to be a producer. So the fact that you will, anytime I would post a beat on my SoundCloud, you generally would like the post. That kind of sparked interest as well, because I knew you did stuff with Marv, but just to have some support is better than no support. You know what I mean? And I really appreciated that, from you. You know what I mean? I think that's what initially, garnered my interest. You know what I mean? It's just for, you know what I mean? Because sometimes when you start, making music, you want acceptance. I believe everybody does in that regard. But like when we first linked up, you know what I mean? It was really dope that, I felt like I was getting support from you in that regard. You know what I mean? And that opened up to a lot. You know what I mean? So I was paying attention, the stuff that you would put up, and you know what I mean? Like you said, I heard the beat tape, gave the critique. But then when I saw that Jared video, and I heard that particular beat, that one, and maybe the Fred Hammond beat. Like I knew you, I knew you was holding out some goodies, and not only that, but that there was some potential that was, I felt like it was kind of like untapped yet. You know what I mean? So, and you always stay low. You weren't like arrogant either, which is a plus.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Salute to, once again, man, my big compadre Marfa More Beats and the illa spitter Jared Sanders. So yeah, man. So on your end, man, to the next question, like, what was it that drew us together to make a body of work? Like, I got my answer, but what's your answer? Like, what made you be like, you know what, I want to get this dude, I want to get this individual to produce for me on this next thing. I want to tell him, like, this is what I want to do, and, you know, just run us through, like, what made you get me and be like, hey, like, you know, let's do something.
Well, you know, once we start talking, you know, for me, you know, whenever I want to do music with people, you know, I want it to be organic and natural, not something that's forced. And I believe in order to do that, you actually have to build relationships. You can't avoid that to make the best music. So the more we start talking, and you know, you sent me some beats. I was like, well, yo, he got some dope stuff here. And, you know, she's the boss. You know what I mean? She, you know, so I was playing some stuff for her. And,
I'm sorry, that was your wife?
Yeah, the boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was playing. so I was playing beats for her, and you know, she's real picky. And you know, there was some records even that she would, you know, she said she would rap to as well. And I said, that's interesting. And then my kids were in the car, and they all said that there was some beats that they liked. You know what I mean? Which was encouraging. It wasn't like you sent the it was like you sent me some hard stuff, and I was like, okay, you know, let's see how we can create and how it would work. And you know, I felt led to, you know, to work with you exclusively.
Got you. So just to run that by you again, like, cause again, I don't know if the call is a little glitchy, but you were sending some stuff or allowing your wife to kind of hear what I had or whatever, and then your kids were listening to the joints as well, and you were just encouraged to just kind of move forward to see if we can do something.
Right. Got you.
For me, it was I wouldn't say it was a risk, because, well, okay, it was half and half. Like, it was a risk, and then it was like, all right, we'll see what happens, kind of thing. Something can come out of it. So with any artist that I would like to work with or whatever, I kind of try to do some research on them. Not only in their music, but also kind of like their individuality, how they are in person. You know, so it was a thing where I look back, you know, to his back catalog of what he had with Monochord, or, you know, even just singles. I'm like, okay, I like what I heard. And for me personally, there was always this thing in me where I kind of wanted to create a whole body of work from front to back, top to bottom, like be that one producer on like every joint on that one particular album. I think it was kind of inspired from Ninth Wonder, because, you know, his work with maybe with Murs or something like that, and then maybe like True Life with the Cross Movement. You know, just really those like producer duos with a group or whatever. And like, what better way to hone your skills with working with certain individuals you vibe with, and you know, I prayed on it as well to see if, you know, it was something that, you know, it does, you know, fit my interest at the end of the day. Because a lot of times, and this is coming from like a producer, right? Like, you know, an aspiring producer who may not be at the top or whatever, but like, you know, sometimes, you know, artists can be a little, you know, shady, or, you know, they'll be like, hey, just send me some stuff and blah blah blah, but they won't be willing to like communicate or just get back at you. So it's kind of like, all right, on to the next one. You know, it's really more business than personal, and like relatable, no building. So if I'm not mistaken, I think I was the one to say like, hey man, I see your situation, I see what you're trying to do, why don't you let me take the reins on the production side, and I'll let you do you.
Yeah, that's basically how that went. And that was going to be a challenge for me because, like, I generally like, you know, different beats from, you know, different producers. So it was gonna stretch me as well. But I thought about, you know, Joe Budden, his last album, you know, with Arab Music, it just was one producer. You know, Royce the 5'9" and DJ Premier.
Yeah, Primo.
Gangstar, you know, and also in CHH, SO and GP.
Salute to GP and SO.
Yep. You know what I mean? So, you know, I felt like, you know, I've wanted to do it, but I knew it would be challenging because, you know, sometimes I like something, sometimes I won't like the next day. So it was gonna be a challenge for me.
Alrighty. Well, we're just gonna take a brief break, and we'll be right back at it.